The mafia boss. The mafia boss to boss our guys to self-kill with. A man of exhaust. Probably turned into a zombie. It wasn't simply one task, it has to be two tasks. It'll take a minor restart. The other channel yet are accessible. Almost every hobby is approved by them. So the whole thing is sort of a strangulation. It starts in there. If it's not really for us in this urgent situation, they are against us. Lots of the zombies are fighting nationalism to fight us, because only nationalism will counter them. Recent proper minor different from the original formulated of, and also variants of proper suitable of. We're gonna pass a lot of formality, guys. This stuff is just plain crazy. This whole motherfucking white man has set up this stuff called the Jeebuses to fight the motherfucker. You almost killed us. How many bullets can take me off? One bullet. How many bullets to take off 10 million? You need at least probably 9 million or something similar to weather region, proper weather region. About that number to take out that much. This is being vicious. This thing's literacy is some kind of gimmickry. The models presented in the games is how human society would be if they were humans. These are utterly vicious. Our guys don't know what brutalists are. Our guys don't know what liars it is. If it is ugly, it is not our guys. Come back for vacation, usually the stuff is right, and when our candidates sometimes are homeless, therefore they are crazy or drugs. Who are you listening to? Check on the motive, check on who the person is, not on the language level. And when somebody is more of a drunken state, they're probably stating who their enemies are. While I suppose they want more conviction, probably more with the spells. This stuff is a horrendous plot waged against our guys. It's gonna take a while before the other UFO channel comes back. I'm gonna post on the other. It's not there, therefore it's unaccessible. Where does that come from? From the zombicist. Get a knife and cut them. They will not prevail in this vicious war. We have the nuclear bombs, we have the chemical weapons. The zombicist doesn't even care. And what's gonna happen is, I'm gonna burn. Keep plots against our guys. And chisel the language even to fight us. The word police is stating the state you, whether it's it's about the state you're in, while they have you strangulated and isolated and does all these illegal things, while the law enforcement all are run by them. They're psychotic. They care about this reality so much that this can be good when they are inside the ovens or in the hot tubs of the baths we offer to them. They can't stop us. Can they stop us, huh? If ISIS at each of these streets, I think someone who made a lot of work on these issues. Just think about how these put a hook on the cows and then find out okay. So on that mirror, sort of they're against cows, therefore they're for human. Whether it's sort of the topic or whether they are against for humans, sort of giantly skipped. It'll be if per each instance, Joe doesn't state there's enfeeblement stacks, therefore it's not there. They remotely are neutral or inclined towards neutral. Ever hypocrite against us and plotting against us. These psychotics have been evaluating on the states of a man, as if those are some sort of robots. But there's a percentage being this is a dominator case, they only want to dominate, and their dominatorists have failed. So if they're dominated, they're gonna get the bullets. We're going to send ISIS actually mass shooting. I kept telling the Israeli statesmen, don't do 200 deaths. You need to massacre a couple thousand. The next time with 500 it's more okay. Now you're 200. Next 500 is a big one. Who the fuck cares about their opinion? What are they going to do? Buy something from Kijiji and start cooking them? Let them try. But cook them even more. Or cook them and tell them to the wall and strangle and bash their skulls open. Name certain terms of the skull sizes that remain after sledgehammer bash through them. It's called a slip, or slip, S-L-I-L. Bunch of idiotic fuckers with the self-assertiveness. They're non-fuckers. Starting with this, we must make something bad and do this cuckolding. Why don't you join a dungeon game and start getting raped and film that with some kind of gangbang movies? That's what you've been doing all this time. You're not fucking doing anything. You're just a porn star. Don't you get it? Putting some mathematical calculations, some mathematical number combinations of 666, and you miss all the basics. You cut that stuff out, personally, let's tell you. Suppose they really wanted this place to be less of degen. more about this barbaric asymmetry, this hegemony, this global domination of them above all the creatures that they name to as animation mods, as if whether reason proper by the matter, whether reason as if animation mods. Are they animations? They care about the slaughterer who slaughtered them more than the slaughterer care about anyone, even themselves. When the Nazis hate towards someone, it's not so much they therefore to respect themselves. They're going to perpetual sabotage. Noticing the word artificial really is terrorism. If you're wrong and you assert it as something that's normal, as artificial, you're mentally fucking insane. Get the fuck out of here. They already cut it to Sauron's eyes. I happen to be the Sauron's beholder, and what happened to with this? How much force they exert? It's all about themselves. This monolithic engineer reader can change the subject. Engineer to the 7 billion numbers. I will be doing mass shooting immediately. Suppose that I wasn't so important. I cannot be doing mass shootings. I have more work to be done. But otherwise, I would do if there was a more comparative, a less intelligent version, or more of revive version of me. Sort of not a version, but it's probable for both. So whether it's probable another version of me. Then you will be directly doing mass shooting, submit the PDF files. Get the situation to a sort of a tight knot, at least it awakens from this slumber, this mass battery. Like all the stuff is just cuckold. It's like what the fuck is all this white man doing? Reason that stated pardon. It's absolutely atrocious. They're not even the knights. They're sort of misbreds, and themselves sort of know that. Why don't you confront it and do stuff with acknowledgement? You're fucking crazy doing so much when you don't even understand. Anyone will assume you already got the license and trained. Do we notice again the select few humans are decent. Rest of it's just imposters. They keep changing their apparel and exploit viciously. How you can't tell. And you can't know my hobbies until you further know me. And these keep exploiting on that. I suppose there was a situation how been it, then it goes even more. The absence of nationalism represents the presence of mass amount of zombies. They're going to keep evaluating, his grammar isn't right. Why don't they straight call the moon crazy for they're against their global degeneracy? Well, the region of the global degeneracy degenerate. They're going to do all this gimmickry stuff. You need to keep your hairs with them. No, motherfucker, peace first. Do you understand? All the regular folks understand this. Despite it, people must just still prevail because anyways, then lots of there certainly is indicator of worthiness to be heard about. And if someone, whether it's improbable, whether it's improbable also, if someone they have opposed opinion, the proper way is to at least cherish. Even when I stab my enemies, I will actually wave goodbye to them. Well, they're sort of lost in their ways, at least, even if very large, whether improper, whether isn't, or a large percentage of, at least they have some similarities. The level of this consciousness, whether improper, whether this decency is remotely not there. If it needs more explanation on what it is, then it doesn't have it. And we have so much of these entities that are somehow there. It's quite shocking, isn't it? So the schools is to two birds, one stone. They're gonna try to stone birds, right? Via that, or but also imply from that of, well, it doesn't operate as a prison for them, operates as a prison for us. Check out our guys' numbers or not. They all the nights being visited by these Jewish females. These are 15 love, 30 love. Even with lots of the shoutings at the tennis court, rather is almost warning signs. Pay attention to them. These are hideous freaks. They are all criminals. Get a gun and melt their face open. They will still remain hostile towards you. That's how demanded they are. Get a gun and shoot them all. If you don't have guns, they're gonna use other ways. They're not gonna directly gun towards you. They're gonna use all these formalities, these gimmickries. They're tricky, utterly insolent, principleless freaks. Notice that every savage is rather quite noble and innocent, and all the innocents are utterly, utterly fake. Amongst also kind of a dysfunction trait and stuff. Now we're going to save this video. It probably will save properly. And probable, the sound and video are synchronized, and the video quality may be refresh rate probably a bit questionable there. Oh, that's because we have that feature turned on. Sort of not turned on. It's sort of unsafe probably because recently there was a computer error caused by Nazis. Suppose our guys start raging, or whether starts counting towards them directly. All of a sudden the police come. The police are gonna fucking get themselves microwaved. Bunch of idiots. Do you understand we have chemical weapons? Would you like chemical weapons down your throat? On your esophagus? Do you know what an esophagus is? You will know once that chemical weapon goes to your house. Stolen houses that can never build, purchased by some tickets. This all plays in some kind of Vegas clown show that gone really, really mad. But the clowns don't even exist there. There's a bunch of mass Nazis orchestrating these clowns as if they did all things over, in the case of probably the Jews. Pay less attention on language, in fact, more on the motives. Alright guys? And not of Nazi stalking. And beware, ISIS will be coming soon with 250,000. We have those trained. Enjoy your ride before some police check up to you, and after evaluation you don't qualify. Put your keys on the car seats. Move to the side. You will hear that, and next to it is you. Then that one probably not hurt. Will probably still be hurt. And then afterward, beep. That's your last gasp. Enjoy it. For plotting against us. Bunch of phonies. Only a dumbass will plot against us. Sort of in a way, whether it's a demented wicked being will plot against it, isn't it? It's already extremism to like Hitler in a way, because you're not giving so much to Hitler, you're simply liking him. So to be against Hitler, that's extremism, army extremism. It probably the inverse effect takes place because it is quite of a magnitude there. Like how if some hot pan has water on it, sort of thing, it doesn't evaporate as quick. Or a lens, whether the lens example of probably could be referred to as the example. Example of this feature is going to be off, probably the default, or if it's suddenly restarting, whether probably wasn't saved during the last, whether recent previous error. There are lots of words that doesn't promote to Rohan. Recently, probably instead of microwave, first started with burners, because it's going to be there's so much distortions, and as much as it should be that we understand what it is, or rather, also whether you're whether or burn, whether you're whether you're war, whether you're war with burners of. But sort of suitable this way, despite there's this should be sort of a level, that level of, but that's sort of how that goes, and they have the cultural level contamination, whether so much a condition for Nazism and all the modernity, whether you're whether modernity era of, they sort of should go by along with that. Along probably with the indicator figures. Nazis are plotting against our guys. They're fighting nationalism to fight us, because only nationalism will counter to them. It's only formidable in it force, whether it's or the only formidable force towards those. While they constantly send all these games, because notice the lions aren't there. We can't just be doing Lion Kings. They are Nazi, they aren't gonna listen. Instead, point a gun, get ISIS to them. All of a sudden, when I mention guns, all of a sudden, oh, it's something to them. But all these Nazi freaks, reason why Papa for the matter, what reason they were with reason they were Papa for the matter, reason they were what the reason they were Papa for the matter, what the reason Papa were with hallmark freaks of, as if I'm now someone who picks up a gun, but the guns are invented by Aryans. We have the right to use them. Well, we therefore use it to shoot anyone. Why would someone do that? It's not something to be described. Notice the law is actually in holding, rather in the persons with the proper characters, not so much stuff on a paper. Notice today we have almost all of it on the paper is just going to not to be even taken, with the knights disappearing, married off by these with Gomak, or whether it's Jewish with Gomak females. If the resultant son doesn't falter, they send them to the college death camps. Like, what is all that stuff? This is so utterly similar to lots of the stories of the insect world. Maybe this is the insect world, or the insect world is human, where they don't murder their queens and do some revolution opposed as French Revolution, with some persons even going there name themselves. With some persons there name themselves as parliamentary, is going whether it's or parliamentary is whether it's whether it's as parliamentary is whether it's whether it's as parliamentary. This is whether it's whether it's as parliamentary. This is named as French Revolution, and does this somehow this new world order, this 666. What a bunch of geeks! You guys are the nerds before the word nerd came up, and that's me telling you this. Stop being a nerd. The world also needs you to join on this fight to fight Nazism. There's so much to do in life. We're not even complete yet. How many persons have watched a fair collection of the movies? There's lots of tasks to be chased after, whether it's whether it's to be complete enough. And yet, lots of persons today act as if they're immortals, far from being immortals. Very, very mortal, and sort of just began their walk. They're not excellent yet, they're not superb yet. So for them to behave, whether you're to start on those large tasks, rather he's doing something like a chemist without a license, and what will happen there? Suppose a person is kind. It's sort of independent of whether it's kind or noble, whether it's whether sort of the personality as much compared to other tasks. Probably for recent, whether probably sort of for the reason, probably for optional of. I unveiled this vicious plot against our guys probably 2 years ago, or rather 1 year. It probably happened almost like a timeless. For more than a couple of years of whether it's for whether it's for also whether it's for also whether it's for whether reason or whether it's whether it's for a couple of years of. It's not enough. It's not enough. We're gonna ditch all these formalities. Ditch all these fake friends that are doing this global degeneracy that kill others are utterly brutalists. It doesn't perform. So that's quite Panquil's rules. Probably also then amplifies its dysfunction, whether it's also dysfunction. It's been a vicious siege against our guys. A major number-based drama. This movement to counter to our guys, it's not really going to be battlefields or comparative for all these covert operations, whether it's whether or these covert operations. Anyone that doesn't hold a point against a corporate, these leeches, they oust and they become homeless, and then they tackle still upon with all these fake friends they ever harbored for friendships. How hideous are these? Point at M9, point at M481, point at AK-47. It was still wouldn't outgrow this tumor cancer that's gotten to 230,000 growths a day. Our guys don't even have that together. Probably don't even have that many vehicles, and most of the regional stuff. Ones that are not loyal to the return of Rohan, not Americans. They're not even humans. They should be shot dead. Ask the rats if they support Rohan. In ways their actions speak, whether even rats may be before. Much of the creatures support to the rise of Rohan, and the ones against Rohan will be absolutely abolished. It will be mentioned to the Nazis, especially because they are so despite number wait, this is more of a Nazi planet. There's crazy people everywhere doing rocket science before even noticing it is a Nazi planet. Like, what the fuck are these scientists? Can we start respect to the tigers? Then maybe he knows a lot more than you guys. Then maybe you're only smart but degenerate, or probably also smart dumbasses. Like, this shouldn't be an insult, because that's actually dumbasses. They cause so many problems and issues. A proper person will accept it. It's not a case of the sarcasm, terrorism, misuse of word. Although there tends to be a bit splashy, whether it's a part of questionable smart fools. Whether you're using pop of weather, whether you're using pop of war, questionable smart fools, whether you're using pop of false, whether you're using pop of weather, whether you're using pop of war, smart fools. Lots of this should be also pop of self, whether you're pop of weather, whether you're using pop of. Lots of this should probably be also self-explanatory. Utterly Marxism is not for peace there. Utterly cynical, whether you can pop by the mind or whether you brutalists against peace of much of the amount of those will be abolished, and pop also should be abolished. Passes what a day passes is awful. Today we're going through the probably that's the recommended legalize it. You think the public strap is more local, more probable suitable. Not suppress self-selected out, these are fake mates, these are robotic Nazis that evaluate what's humans and try to fight our guys. So we are utterly designated against righteous, scared, and hot day. The search of happiness, whether it's about for the government of German state. Written there for violence, power to be open. But the powerful consider. Therefore, even during the choruses, imprisonments, it turned every serious matter into some kind of savage comedy album. The rapidly decimated, it is continuous, utter nonsense. And according to Damasus for Rooney there, Shiray, part of also Murray, a little part of people. This global agenda, they probably heavily worked on, whether in the monopoly, they heavily worked upon. It will not be keeping very much longer.